Assalamu alaikum, dear students. How are you? Hope you are well. I am also well. Welcome to online class. Dear students, on the screen you can see today I am going to discuss story writing. And you have this item in your first paper. So this item is very important for you, and in this item you are allotted 10 marks for completing a story. So you need to know pros and cons about story writing. That means all details about story writing. So students, as it is one of the most important item, so I am going to discuss this item elaborately. And today I would like to discuss how you can write a complete story, and at the same time the rules and regulations, the systems, the methods or the techniques that you need to remember. So students, let's start today's class. First, here you can say, as per the dictionary, a story is a message. A story is one kind of message, one kind of one kind of message or system that tells the particulars of an act or occurrence or course of events, presented in writing or drama or cinema or as a radio or television program. So here you can see the definition of story writing from a dictionary. This definition has been derived from a dictionary, and according to this definition, you can get a brief picture about the definition of a story. So I would like to tell the definition again in order to you. Okay, students, listen it very carefully. A story is a message that tells the particulars of an act or occurrence or course of events, presented in writing or drama or cinema or as a radio or television program. This is the definition of story writing. So you need to remember this definition, and then we can discuss the other parts. It can be presented in various formats, including that of writing, drama, cinema or as a radio or television program. However, here we deal with the written presentation of a story, which is actually the basis of all other forms of story presentation. Because in your course, in your examination, you have to write down a story, you have to complete a story. So we will discuss this part properly. Students, for obtaining any skill, for completing any topic, there are some skills. So here, for completing story writings, you can also get some skills, and now I will discuss the skills that you need to follow when you will complete any story. Story writing skills. Story writing skills can be acquired through various methods. That means there are various systems, there are various techniques, there are various methods through which you can acquire story writing skills. These methods are very useful for beginners. For example, you are the students and you are going to complete any story, so you need to know the skills that you need to follow for completing any story writing. Okay, students, now we will discuss the techniques or skills that you need to follow completing story writing. Here, the first point is visit library often. This point is very important for all the students, because library is a source of knowledge. Here you can get all types of books, all types of information that you need to enrich your brain. So we will now discuss this point. Visit library often. Libraries are full of material to be inspired. That means there are many materials in the library that will inspire you. So inspiration is very important for any child, for any person, because if any person gets inspiration from libraries, from books or from other types of things, then he gets stamina, he gets strength to start his or her work anew. So it's very important for any person. It is not just storybooks. One can read anything, including fiction, history, geography, etc. That means a student can get all types of books, all types of information that he or she needs to enrich his or her brain, because the purpose that in which purpose you are going to library is that you just want to gain knowledge. So you can get, for gaining knowledge you have to read books only, and you can also gain knowledge by traveling many countries. That is the different way, but the main thing for any person to gain knowledge is that to read books and to read books. So you can get books, a lot of books in the library, and thus you can, by reading these books you can enrich your mind. Whatever you read stays in subconscious mind. This point here is, this line is very important, because you know that the book or the story or the topic that you read stays in subconscious mind, and indirectly provides you plots, situations, timelines, etc. for writing a story. And then we will discuss the next point, and our next point is developing a writing habit. Beginners should get used to writing, as it is a habit that one can needs to develop and hone. Hone means to shun, that means to improve. Take 10 minutes initially and write anything from any source. It can be a magazine, a journal, or anything that interests you. One can also type on a typewriter or the more used PC. As you progress, you can spare from half an hour to anything one is comfortable with. Read what you like and what you don't. It seems understood to read what one likes, but reading what one doesn't like sounds weird. But if reading books broadens our scope and new ideas emerge, it provides us an idea on how to start a story or how to organize it in a different way. So students, now we will read the next point, just write. This is very important for any beginners or learners, because if you just write and write and write, you can improve your writing skill, as a completing story is given only for the purpose of improving your writing skill. So you just need to write and write and write. We often think a lot about what to write and what not to write. Sometimes you can sit for writing any topic, but sometimes when you sit for writing any topic, you do not find out what the topic you will write about. But that is not the matter. Every day you have to sit for writing for any purposes. Maybe your writing has no meaning, that is not the point. The point that you need to develop is that you need to build up a habit for writing regularly. Often end up frustrated, spoiling our mood and wasting time. Sit down and start to write. Don't criticize yourself. Tell yourself that you will come back and edit later. So the writing, the topic that you are writing, that is not important. The important thing is that you have to write and write. Maybe you can make a lot of mistakes, but that is not also considerable. You just need write and write, and then you can edit it, and then you can consider it how important topic you have written. Students, now we will let the ideas flow. Take time off. Sometimes the monotonous routine of our lives may hamper the flow of creative juices in our minds. This is the time to take a time off. Do what you like, play, party, or anything. Forget about writing for a while. This gap refreshes our mind and provides us new ideas. When you will sit for writing, and you will write something, then you should take rest. And then after taking rest for half an hour or an hour, you can get new information, you can get new ideas, and based on these new ideas or information, you can again start your writing. Read your own story aloud. After you have completed writing a story, print it out and read it out loud. This doesn't mean read it in your head. Actually, read it out loud your friends or just to yourself. This will help you to catch many more mistakes. Write the introduction last. After you have finished the whole story, go back to the beginning and write an introduction that will capture the audience and get them ready for the story. Although story writing is considered to be a God-gifted art, still it can be learned, acquired by persistence, hard work or continuous hard work. A short story consists mainly of three parts. They are heading, plot and moral. Their heading, plot and moral. You need to remember that every short story consists mainly of three parts. They are heading, plot and moral. For example, in your examination, in your answer paper, you have to write down the story, you have to complete the story, and your story must have 3 points or 3 parts. They are heading, plot and moral. First you have to write down the headline of the story. For example, you know about the story of two friends and a bear, and you know one day two friends went to visit a forest. Suddenly, when they were in the deep forest, they saw a bear approaching to them. So this is one kind of a story, and if you get such kind of a story in your question paper and you are asked to complete this story, then when you will start your answer, first you have to write down the heading or the headline of your story. So the heading or headline of the story will be two friends and a bear. Two friends and a bear. This is the headline. And you need to remember, when you will write down your headline, you have to underline the headline by using blue color pen. Students, you are allowed to use blue color pen in your examination, because as you are going to write down your headline, you need to focus it, you need to show its importance. To show its importance and to show your heading or headlines, you can underline the heading or headline by using blue color pen. And if you use blue color pen, then it will be very attractive to the eyes of the examiners, and he or she can easily get the idea that you have written here, you have used here the heading of the story, the titles of the story. So you need to draw the attention of the examiners by using blue color pen in your examination. And then you have to write down the plot. First you have to write down the headline, and students, you need to remember, whenever you will write down the headline and then you will go to your main story to complete the main story. In this main story you have to use 3 parts. You have to use 3 parts, and the first part will be introduction, and then you will write down the body of the story, and at last you have to write down the conclusion of the story. So in your main story you have to write down 3 points. You have to divide the story into 3. They are introduction, and then body, main body, and then at last conclusion. And after writing conclusion, you have to write down the moral of the story. The moral that you have learned from this story should be written at the end of the story writing. And as the end, you need to remember, when you will write down the moral of the story, you have to underline the moral of the story by using blue color pen. So students, this information is very important for you. So whenever you will go to write down or complete any story, first you will write down the headline of the story, and then you have to complete the story, And you need to remember, in your story writing you will have you will keep three parts, and the first part is introduction, and the second part is body of the story, and the last part is conclusion. And then at the end of your story you have to write down the moral of the story. Thus you can complete the story. So students, I hope you have understood how you can complete a story. Now I would like to complete this today's class. Many thanks to all the students who have clicked today's videos. Thanks to all. Assalamu alaikum.